Hello, the students of HS second year. Due to this pandemic situation, we have decided to take online classes, and whenever the situation is normal, we will again take offline classes. So today the topic is solution. So all of us know that solution is a mixture of two or more components whose composition can be varied within certain limits. So a solution is a true solution or binary solution. So binary solution, and binary solution consists of two components, solute and solvent. Now solute is one which is present in small proportion, small amount, and solvent is that which consists of large amount. Suppose aqueous solution of sodium chloride. In aqueous solution of sodium chloride is solvent and sodium chloride is solute and water is solvent. So depending upon the properties of solute and solvent and the physical state of solute and solvent, there are different types of solutions. Suppose solute, solvent, example. Now, if the solute is gas and the solvent is also gas, then the example will be mixture of gases in air or mixture of vapors in air. If this is liquid, that is solute is liquid and solvent is gas, then the example will be moisture in air. Now if the solute is solid and the solvent is gas, then the example will be sublimation of solid, that is either iodine or ammonium chloride in air. So sublimation of iodine or ammonium chloride in air. So these are the three types where the solutes are different. One is gas, another is liquid, and another is solid. And the solvents are there same, that is gas. So whenever gas in gas, the example is mixture of gases or vapors in air. Whenever liquid in gas, the example will be moisture in air. And whenever solid in gas, the example will be sublimation of solid, that is iodine or ammonium chloride in water. Again, whenever the solute is liquid and the solvent is also liquid, then the example will be liquid in liquid, that is the example will be alcohol in water. Similarly, whenever the solute is gas and the solvent is liquid, then the example will be aerated water containing carbon dioxide. And whenever the solute is solid and the solvent is liquid, and all of us know that whenever sugar is dissolved in water or salt is dissolved in water, then these are the examples of solid in liquid. So whenever liquid in liquid, that is alcohol in water. Whenever gas in liquid, aerated water containing carbon dioxide. And whenever solid in liquid, sugar or salt in water. Then whenever gas in solid, that is hydrogen gas absorbed either in platinum or in palladium. that is gas in solid. Then liquid in solid. Whenever the solute is liquid and the solvent is solid, then the example will be mercury in silver, that is silver amalgam. And whenever the solute is solid and the solvent is also solid, then the example will be brass or bronze, that is alloy. So these are the different types of binary solutions. Again, whenever the solvent is water, then the solution is known as or regarded as aqueous solution. And whenever the solvent is anything except water, then the solution or solvent is known as non-aqueous solution. Non-aqueous. Again, there are three types of solutions: gaseous solutions, liquid solutions, and solid solutions. Now, gaseous solution, all gases and vapors form homogeneous mixtures. Therefore, mixtures of gases are regarded as also solutions. Now, in air, oxygen and carbon dioxide are in small amount, so they are treated as solutes, and the amount of nitrogen is treated as solvent. Then liquid solution, there are various types of liquid solution. Suppose carbon tetrachloride and benzene. So we know both are non-polar. Both are non-polar. So whenever they form a solution, this solution is miscible. Then when ethyl alcohol mixed with water, then also we get a miscible solution. But whenever water is mixed with carbon tetrachloride, we get an immiscible solution. So from these, the most important point should be noted that polar substances more dissolved in polar solvents and non-polar substances more dissolved in non-polar solvents. So from this, the first law of solubility comes, that like dissolves like. Number third is solid solution. Many solids can form solutions of this type. One thing, in liquid solution, sodium and potassium both are solids. Now, if sodium and potassium, we can mix them in equal proportion at room temperature, then also they can form a liquid solution. So this point should be noted. Now, in solid solution, copper and gold can form a solid solution because gold atoms can replace copper in the crystal lattice of copper. Similarly, copper atoms can also replace gold in the crystal lattice of gold. So these are the different types of solutions. Next is method of expressing concentration of solution. Methods of expressing concentration of solution. Now, what is concentration? Actually, by concentration, we mean the strength of a solution. Method of expressing concentration of different solution. Number one is strength of a solution. Number 2, percentage. Number 3, normality. Number 4, molarity. Number 5, molality. And number 6, mole fraction. Now, number 1 is strength of a solution. The strength of a solution is always expressed as the amount of solute in grams dissolved in per liter of the solvent. So we can write strength is capital S. So S is equal to amount of solute in grams divided by volume of the solution. So this is our method of expressing concentration of different solution. Number 1, strength. Number 2 is percentage. The concentration of solution in terms of percentage can be expressed in 4 ways. Number 1, mass to mass percentage. Number 2, mass to volume percentage. Number 3, volume to volume percentage. And the last one is volume to mass percentage. So number 1, mass to mass. So mass to mass is the ratio of mass of solute in grams divided by mass of solution in grams into 100. Is it clear? Number 2, mass to volume, that is mass of solute in grams divided by volume of solution in ml into 100. Next one is volume to volume, that is volume of solute in ml divided by volume of solution in ml into 100. And the last one is volume to mass, that is volume of solute in ml divided by mass of solution in grams into 100. Now number 3 is normality. So before going to normality, we should know what is normal solution. Do you know what is normal solution? So normal solution is whenever 1 gram equivalent of a solution is dissolved in 1 liter of the solvent, then it is normal solution. Suppose 1 normal NaOH. Do you know the molecular weight of NaOH? So Na is 23, oxygen is 16 and hydrogen is 1. So the molecular weight here is 40. Now what is the equivalent weight? As it is normality, so the term equivalent weight comes. Now what is equivalent weight? So sodium hydroxide is a base. So equivalent weight is molecular weight divided by acidity. Now in case of Na weight, hydroxyl group is here 1. Hydroxyl group is 1. So 40 divided by 1 is equal to 40. So from this we can say that normality is defined as the number of gram equivalents of the solute present in 1 liter of the solvent. So normality is number of, so here 1000 ml contains 40 gram of NaOH. 1 normal solution means, again, if we have to prepare, suppose 0.1 normal sodium hydroxide, and these things are very much important for your practical classes, that is in your volumetric analysis. You have to prepare, suppose 250 ml of 0.1 normal sulfuric acid or 100 ml of 0.01 normal sodium hydroxide. So if we know the system of calculation, then we will prepare different types of solutions, different types of normality of the solution if we know the procedure. So 1000 ml of one normal solution contains 40 gram. So 1000 ml of 0.1 normal solution contains 4 gram. Is it clear? So normality is denoted by capital N. So capital N is equal to number of gram equivalent of solute. Number of gram equivalents of solute divided by volume of the solution in ml into 1000. Now similarly, number 4 is molarity. Now molarity is denoted by capital M. Molarity is denoted by capital M. And molarity is when 1 mole of the solute present in 1 liter of the solution, then the solution is molar solution. Now molarity is the number of moles of the solute present per liter of the solution. It is denoted by capital M. So capital M is number of moles of the solute. Similarly, capital M will be number of moles of the solute divided by volume of the solution in ml, volume of the solution in ml into 1000. Now, the fifth one is molality. And molality is denoted by small m. So, when 1 mole of the solute is dissolved in 1000 gram of the solvent, then it is called 1 molar solution. Thus, molality is defined, that is small m, number of solutes in gram divided by mass of solvent in gram into 1000. So this is molality. And the last one is mole fraction. Have you heard this name, mole fraction, in your HS first year classes? No. So molality, so mole fraction is the ratio between the number of solutes or number of solvents divided by the total number of solutes and solvents. So mole fraction, if suppose N1 is the number of solutes, and N2 is number of solvents, and mole fraction is denoted by X. So X A, suppose X A, mole fraction of the solute will be number of solutes divided by number of solutes plus number of solvents. Similarly, mole fraction of the solvent will be, and it is denoted by X B, that is B is in suffix. So N2 divided by N1 plus N2. So in this way we can define or we can describe different types of methods of expressing concentration term. Then next comes solubility. Solubility of gases in liquid, solubility. So, effect of pressure and solubility of a gas, and this is our Henry's law. So in 1803, William Henry said that mass of a gas dissolved per unit volume of a solvent is directly proportional to the pressure of the gas in equilibrium at a given temperature. That is, our M is, so mass of a gas, M is directly proportional to P. M is directly proportional to P. Our Henry's law. Henry's law. M is directly proportional to P. Again, we can write M by P is equal to one constant, where M is the mass of a gas, P is the pressure, and K is the constant of proportionality. So M by P is equal to K. Similarly, when a large number of gases dissolve in a given liquid, Henry's law is applicable to each of them separately. In such a way, the mass of each gas dissolved is directly proportional to its partial pressure. Now, if X2 is the mole fraction, then it is proportional to P2. If X2 is the mole fraction of the gas of the solvent, and if P2 is the partial pressure, then again X2 is proportional to P2, or X2 is equal to some constant into P2. Then P2 is equal to X2 divided by K is another constant. X2 by K, again this is, that is our X2 into 1 by, suppose this is K dash, suppose. So this is K dash, so this is also K dash, then this 1 by K dash is our X2 into another constant, suppose this is KH. So this is our Henry's constant. So what is Henry's law? আমরা কি বুঝতে পারলাম Henry's law থেকে? যদি একটা জিনিস ডিসলভ হয় তখন এটা হবে M is directly proportional to, this is for a single case, M is directly proportional to P, or M by P is equal to K, where M is the mass of a gas, P is pressure, and K is constant of proportionality. But whenever a large number of gases are dissolved in a given liquid, Henry's law is applicable to each of them separately, and in such a case, the mass of each gas is directly proportional to its partial pressure. Now, if X2 is the mole fraction and P2 is the partial pressure, then X2 is directly proportional to P2. So X2 is equal to K to P2. So P2 is equal to X2 by K dash. That is another constant. Then this X2 into this constant, we can say it KH, where this KH is called Henry's constant. So this much for today. So today we have discussed what is solution, what is solute, what is solvent, what are the different types of solution with example, then how we can express the concentration of a solution, then one important law, our Henry's law. So this much for today, and next day I shall try to solve some problems also in the class. So thank you.